is Allison Smith, and this is my story. I started out first party this year, and over the summer I was asked to be a first party leader by a good friend of mine, Hannah. And at first it kind of struck me as, oh Lord, oh goodness, I can't do that. And then after a few days later I was sitting there praying about it, and I felt really led to do it. And so I messaged Hannah back and told her that I would. And from the time that summer to the beginning of school, I didn't think much about it. And then whenever first party actually started, it really started to hit me. And that's where I am now. I got saved when I was 8 years old at White Oak Baptist Church. I've been saved for a little over 10 years now, but it's not always been very great. It's been very hard at some points of my life. When I was 14, I began my high school year, and that's when my depression had started. And I was being bullied and everything like that. My depression throughout the years began to worsen just about every day. Every day I came to school, and every day I'd walk into school, I'd get looks. I would get coughs behind my back calling me fat, the B word. I'd rather not say that one, but the B word. I'd get poor, ugly, just all kinds of words like that. And every day I go home, it made it just a little bit easier. But still, those thoughts were still in my head, and after hearing it so much, you really begin to believe it. The end of freshman year, going into sophomore year, I began self-harm, cutting my arms. And throughout that time, I felt like God had left me, and then later I had come to realize that I left Him instead of Him leaving me. My sophomore year, my depression still progressed, and I really reached my breaking point my sophomore year. I went home one day and I just cut my arm all to pieces, and the next day my parents found out, and I went up to my therapist, and we talked, and we decided that I should go up to a psychiatric hospital up in Lexington called The Ridge. I stayed up there for 4 nights and 3 days, and it was very hard, but I made it through. I got phone calls. My dad would always say he's praying for me, and it really helped me out a lot, knowing that there was people praying for me. My dad always told me, he said, when you are down to nothing, God is up to something. And that quote, it's always been in my mind. I think even the roughest days, even when you feel like there's no hope, that God is there and there's a bigger plan. Then I was introduced to First Party. I went a few times during my middle school year, and I never really thought much about it. I just went because, they did have food sometimes, so I like to eat, so. And then during my high school, I would hear it every Wednesday over the intercom, and I'd think about it, I'd linger about it, but then I wouldn't really go. So this year, like I said earlier, a friend had introduced me to being possibly a first party leader, and I thought of how great of an opportunity that would be to be a light to others, and to be able to tell my story and show how I have changed through knowing Christ and how it has emotionally changed me. With the first priority, I felt like I've gotten a closer relationship with God, because everybody that is in first priority, or even the people that's thinking about first priority, you think, well, they might be saved, and that's my brother over there, that's my sister in Christ. You're like, we're going to heaven together. And like you just feel close. You feel like a community. And especially at the See You at the Pole Day, that really helped a lot. You could see everybody gathered around the pole, holding hands, praying for just people wanting to know Christ. For all those who are unsaved and not knowing Christ, we was all praying for them to know Christ. And it was awesome. But being in First Priority has not only helped me, I feel like it's helped others, knowing that there are people that do know my past, and they're sitting there thinking, well, she's got this past, how can she be a First Priority leader? So they kind of get interested in how I can do it and how they would be able to do it. So I think that First Priority, it's for everybody. I love it. Everybody there, we're like a family. It's pretty cool. If we didn't have First Priority here, it would feel pretty dark and gloomy. With having First Priority, it's gave us a sense of hope. It's gave all Christians a community to be able to join together as one and to talk about Christ, because a lot of places they're not allowed to even say the word Christ or Jesus or anything like that. So I'm really thankful that we have First Priority, because without it, we would be lost. What I like about First Priority is that the ability that we have to reach out to others. During our time that we meet once a month, usually people who don't have anywhere to go, they'll just come there just to go because all our friends are there. And with them being there, most of them never really heard of First Priority. They've never really even thought about it. They was like, no, I'm not going to that because it's Christian-like. But a lot of times when we get people like that, it allows us to be able to reach out to them, and it allows them to hear our witness and be a light to them. And a lot of times later on, that will lead to them getting to know Christ. So it's a really good thing that we have First Priority. I do not know where I would be to this day without First Priority.